Hello everybody, this is Tuesday's video devotion, and today, as we have been, we're in 1 Samuel chapter 6. Now, this is a really fun, I think, and interesting story in this part of 1 Samuel. So what's happened is that the Philistines, the arch enemy of the Jews at this time, defeated Israel in a battle. And Israel was stupid enough. They were losing battles to the Philistines and wondering why. So they thought, hey, I know what we'll do. We'll bring the Ark of the Covenant. That's the box that contains the Ten Commandments. We'll bring the Ark of the Covenant with us into battle, and then we'll win. Sort of like the Ark of the Covenant is now a rabbit's foot that they can bring wherever they want, and somehow it'll help them win. And well, that isn't what happens. They lose, and the Ark of the Covenant gets taken by the Philistines. Now, this kind of begins a whole long thing that's kind of, well, I guess it wouldn't be funny if it happened to you, but so first they bring it to Ashdod, a Philistine town, and while it's there, some people go in and they're looking at the ark, the priests of another god, and all kinds of grotesque and gross things happen to these priests. Their heads come off. The next morning they find them without their heads and their arms and legs and just the body. And everybody that tries to look inside this ark ends up dying in gross ways. Sort of reminder of what is it? The Ark movie by I can't remember the name, but you remember what this is. Remember, they look inside and their faces all melt. Well, the same thing kind of happens there. They go from Ashdod. And also they start getting tumors. And there's an interesting connection to this tumor thing here in just a minute, but they get tumors, and the men and women in the town start getting really sick, and some die. And so they say, get this ark out of here. So then it goes to Gath. They bring it to Gath, and same thing happens there. They have tumors. And then they move it to Ekron, all these Philistine cities. And the same thing happens there. The Ekron people goes, no, don't send it here. They're going to kill us. Too, don't give us this deadly plague. And so the Philistines decide we're going to have to send this thing back, because everywhere we bring it, it brings a lot of bad stuff. And they decide that they're going to send it back to the Israelites, and they do it in kind of an interesting way. This sort of a fleece or see if this really is the problem. And it's interesting that they decide to send it back. They're going to send 5 golden rats. Now, it's interesting that they connected the plague with rats. I thought that was much later that people figured that out, but they knew that the rats had something to do with this plague that they were getting. So they sent 5 golden rats and 5 golden, what was it? Anyway, something else with this cart. And they got a cart, and then they took 2 cows that had just calved. Their calves, you can hear the calves bleeping out in the barn. And but they take these calves, and this sort of, if these calves, the cows would not want to go away from their calves. So they've never been hitched up before, and they hitch them up to this cart with the covenant, or the Ark of the Covenant behind it. And then it was Indiana Jones and the Ark something. That's the movie I was talking about. Anyway, so then they're going to just let this car go, and they figure, well, the cows wouldn't want to go away from their calves, but if this is God, they will. And so they hitch them up, and off they go, and they do. They go away from their calves, and they go straight into the territory of the Jews. interestingly enough, that goes to the farm of a person by the name of Joshua, which is the Jewish name for Jesus. So this Ark of the Covenant goes to Jesus, basically. And they're excited, and they take the cows and they butcher them and offer a sacrifice to God. But here's the thing. Some people from this town that the cows brought them to, Beth Shemesh was the name, they decided to go look at the ark. And like 70 men who went in to look at the ark all died. And they say, well, who is able to stand in the presence of God, of the Lord, the holy God? There it is. Because of our sin, we can't stand in the presence of God. But just like the ark did, if we go to Jesus, we're able to stand in the presence of God because we're not sinful anymore, but we're righteous, made righteous by Jesus' blood on the cross. So that's one connection to Jesus. Another connection to Jesus is, you remember he rode into Jerusalem on a donkey that had never been ridden before. Just like the Ark of the Covenant rides into Jewish territory, being pulled by 2 cows that had never been hitched before. And I think it's interesting, they go right to Jesus. Isn't that interesting? It goes right to Joshua, his land there. It's like God is telling us what's going to happen in the future, that Jesus is going to be the one we're all going to go to for our salvation. It's just so amazing, the connections that are made in this Old Testament that are connected to Jesus in the New Testament. God has had this plan from the very beginning of time. And it's just amazing that, I'm just going through this the first time as a pastor, going through this word first time as a pastor, and realizing so many connections. I've been doing this devotion now for like 3 months, and it's just connection after connection after connection to Jesus. It's all tied together. It's all one book. The people that say that the Old Testament is different from the New Testament haven't read the Old Testament, haven't seen all these connections between the Old Testament God and Jesus. There is this connection. Always. It's like, this, that God has had a plan from the very beginning of time, that his Son, Jesus Christ, would be our salvation. And he certainly is. So remember that today. If you're, you got a day where you're kind of wondering, what's this day all about? And is there any direction or plan to the world? You see fires everywhere, and you see, the election stuff, and, this COVID stuff all happening. And I know several people have said to me, well, the end must be coming. Well, sure, it very well could be. I never dismiss the fact the end could be tomorrow or today or whenever. But it also might not be coming. This kind of stuff has happened before. I mean, look at the plagues in this story. Look at how things happened. But one of the things that God asks us always to be is ready, to be ready ones, so that when he does come, we are ready. And the way you do that is by Bible studies like this, or video devotions like this, by reading your scriptures, by going to church every single week, by praying and depending on God in all things, no matter what happens in your life, looking to Joshua, to Jesus. Yeshua, I guess is the way they pronounce that. But remember that God has this plan and has everything in mind, and is bringing everything together for a purpose and for a reason. That's something you can hold on today, no matter what happens. No matter in your life what is happening, know that God has a plan and a purpose and a meaning, in everything that he's doing in his life, in your life, and in the life of the world. Praise God for that. Praise God for Jesus. I think it's very interesting that the Ark of the Covenant goes to the one farmer named Joshua. I don't think that's an accident. Well, God bless. Have a great day. You might want to go see Indiana Jones and the Ark or whatever it is. I can't remember the exact title. And just think about this story. It'd be kind of fun. God bless. Take care.